and then this is my partner Riza. We are from Lana Daya DMDIO. The idea is that we want to try to engage Indonesian people to understand and learn more about textile craftsmanship, and the idea that we try to give more perspective that it's not just mass commodity, but textile can be perceived as art.
Hi, I'm Humphrey, and this is Santi, my partner in DMDIO. So in DMDIO, we are a product design company, and we are actually more a designer for businesses and manufacturers.
I think our identity as a DMDIO, we are a company who is trying to support local brands and local manufacturers so they will have their own voice and their own design to represent them in the international level.
And for us, we really want to see craftsmanship more, so that's the reason why even in what we do together with DMDIO, we try to get our hands into what we make and trying to learn from our tradition and our heritage and how to move forward with it, not just stuck in the traditional market. I think for us, we always really love learning from our history as an Indonesian culture, and we really try to use traditional textile as a reference of what we can make today, including like the fibers, including the ideas, and I think that's one thing that we really want to hold on, even like doing other projects and different kind of style.
For us at DMDIO, we really want to contemporize Indonesian crafts to be something that is more relatable to nowadays, to the modern times, and we wanted to infuse a little more design into any craftsmen that we have in Indonesia. I think it is about time we do so.
For us, sustainability, I think it's not just one thing. I think a lot of people now focus on the idea of environmental issue, but for us, it's more about philosophy on how we live, and that's the idea of sustainability. Without understanding to change the way we live, we wouldn't be able to care about other things, including the social problems, including the environment problems. It has to start from our own understanding how to live a slower life and understanding to care about what we make and what we actually consume as well.
Sustainability is not only, again, people always thought about something like what Riza told you, that it has to do with environment and the social, but it has to do with economy. It has to do with a lot of different aspects in life, how to be sustainable, and then how, especially with the local crafts and local industries, like if we support our own local industry, it means it will help them to sustain. Yeah, a bit late, but better be late than never. Yeah,
it's critical, I guess.
It's very critical
and staggering.
It is staggering, and I think we need to move even faster and to think differently, starting from yesterday actually.
I think technology is definitely one, especially like coming to the age of artificial intelligence. I think a lot of like designers have started to incorporate that into their crafting. I saw that, for example, luxury brands starting to do like artificial printing, artificial intelligent printing. So that's something that is very fascinating.
We try not to forget about the roots of our culture. We still have to continue carry that through to the future, because that's what we have. That's what we treasure as a as a nation, and that's what makes us really different from the others. And that is very important. I think we shouldn't lose that.
Awareness,
mindfulness,
Introspecting yourself. I think that's the key. Is like everything has to start small or start somewhere, and maybe just ask yourself, why do you do this? Why do you buy this? And then you are more mindful about why you're doing certain things and how it's going to affect the earth in the long run.
Well, the name of this collection is called Pluvia. Pluvia is It's a Latin word for water coming down from the sky, aka rain. But basically it's just a body of water coming down from the sky.
It's not just about a product, but it's more a concept that people can try to see and maybe gave them like inspiration, like, oh, I can use this for this and I can use this for this, so other people can actually just imagine from this concept for forever what they want to use.
When we got this assignment, we think that we need to do something again that will actually triggers people's ideas to do something that is just not only using our products to be just for one thing, but for something else, that even for a bigger thing, you know, like we were talking about, like a lot of these pieces can be actually used as a fashion pieces, even all the way to like a really big project installations, like an art installation.
I mean, this is like the first development, because like in the textile processes, like we are not just like stop in one thing. The idea is to give people the idea that a fabric, like a material, can be utilized into different design. That's the reason why you can see that there's one thing that is being sewn this way, and then we can develop it again to look like this. It's the idea of like you keep trying with the materials.
We also use like various techniques like laser cutting, sewing, origami techniques. So like yeah, it was quite like fun development for us.
Cycle project.
Yeah, like what?
So the challenge is basically how to make it look more expensive than it originally
Yes.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah. How to, I guess you can consider it trash.
Yeah.
Leftover materials,
Yeah.
like making it of a certain value that consumers might want to say, hey, I see a value in this, I want to invest in this, I want to buy in this. Not only because it's beautiful, but it's also functional, and also I'm helping the environment because it's used from an upcycled products, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's always been the trouble, because a lot of people, when they see a product that is coming, it looks made from upcycled product, they will look like it's a good, it doesn't look as sophisticated. So how do you make it sophisticated? And
Right.
we took the opportunity to work together, because we know they can push the material to a different kind of like
Boundaries.
form and boundaries. Yeah, so we're very happy with this thing we have. It's a good collaboration. It's a good outcome. I think we're very pleased.
The fun thing is to actually see it done. Like it's just something that we also didn't know that this gonna be look like this. We just try like different things, and then we try to sew it with different techniques, and to see it like it's hanging and it seems so different than the original thing that you gave us. It was something that was very fascinating to
Even though there's a lot of injuries, the injury process happened, and I experienced it a little bit. I experienced more.
But
So
no
I
severed
really-
fingers, right?
Yeah, no severe fingers, but I really sympathize with the process. As you know, there's a lot of people involved in this as well to do this work, but that would really, the appreciation has to come to, because the energy that is involved in this, and the thinking, the time, I think if this is going to be appreciated, it has to have that value as well, because of the time and the energy.
development, I
Not
guess,
only
it's
the thing, right? So we hope there's more creative studio in Indonesia, thinking about actually designing with upcycled material, turning waste into treasure, and we hope that they actually have their own voice when they're designing, and that's really important for our creative landscape in Indonesia, because we are a very creative country, but we tend not to push ourselves to the one extent to our boundaries to the highest maximum, you know.
I hope that a lot of like other studio designer that is more senior, especially if they're trying to be more open as well towards a younger studio like us. What I really respect from what DMDIO is trying to do is because they already have such a good name, but they are very open and they're very, you know, it's okay to let other studio try to join and give them new ideas as well. I think for a lot of senior or older, you know, studio generation, I think it's quite hard because they're trying to maintain what they have and their own, you know, individuality as well. But I think stuff like this is actually quite nice, and it giving a new generation a new hope that they can actually try and explore different things without being scared that they wouldn't get any, you know, platform to share about it.
Again, we have to really get used to ourselves to be mindful in our everyday life and try to lessen the waste of things. It is very hard because we're so accustomed to using plastic right and left. We try to find alternatives for things, but again, in the same time, design industry, architecture, interior design, I think we're one of the biggest contributors for waste, and I think this kind of program actually gives us time to think, what can we do for our projects? What kind of material that we can reuse and reclaim from the waste itself, not only on everyday life.
First thing you have to do is separate the materials, because you cannot just put it into one pile of like different materials, different colors. It's gonna be very hard to manage that. For us, like in our studio, we work with a lot of different textile, and every one of them have different characteristics. So we separate it into different bins of like, this is the white color, this is the this especially for this materials only. So when we go back into that bin that we collected, we have an idea, oh, okay, this material works this way. I can just, for example, use this to relieve that into a machine again, for example. So you have an idea that's already sorted, it's not becomes a problem. And especially like for a company like, for example, Sunday, maybe like, you know, giving a space for like different materials to go into different aspect, but then having like materials like this that is very flimsy to, for example, categorize it for this is very fashion, for example. So you can broaden up your mind that it's not just about interior or architecture, it's not stopping there.
We expect to have that Föld will actually inspire more creatives to think out of the box with what they can do with this waste material. Maybe Föld can actually work together with other manufacturers, not only from this window treatment materials, but other things. I think, again, like what Clarissa told you, it's nice if it's already been separated. That's actually even easier to manage in how we think about what we can do in terms of like the product itself, to what extent that we can develop it. More variety in the ways that I see that there's a lot more that we can do.
But this is just like the basic. For example, we chose one color for this because like we are limited with a time frame. So we thought that maybe we can just focus on the concept first. But then if you imagine, like, you can mix like black and white color, or you can mix with like brown color, neutral palette, you can create so many samples.
We can create more collections actually. We can explore more shapes and more constructions. That is, I think it will be very exciting.